Thank you for checking into 10 Questions with NBC10 Boston. I'm Kwani Lunis, and today I'm joined by the first, not only Black woman, but Haitian-American female city councilor for the City of Everett, Massachusetts, Gerly Adrien. Thank you for joining me today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Of course. How's your day going?
Busy. But every day I wake up with a smile.
Yeah, that's the energy that we need to hear. I do want to backtrack before we get into the reason why you're so busy. I know you are a Massachusetts native, so for those who don't know your story, where are you from and how did you get into the role that you are in now?
Yeah, so my name is Gerly Adrien, and as you can hear, my name is a very unique name. It's half my mother's name, half my father's name. So my mother's name is Magley and my dad's name is Gerson, and they're both Haitian immigrants. So they immigrated to Massachusetts around 1980s, and so they settled in Everett, where I grew up. And so Everett has been my hometown. I love the city. I love the diversity, and it has definitely shaped me to the person who I am today. Also, my love for politics has started since a young age. And so helping people, serving, fighting on issues that people truly care about, and really trying to produce real changes is really about who I am.
I love to hear that. And we had Seti Warren on this same series earlier in the year. And I just love when you hear of someone that grew up in a city and then eventually they're making their way into an office or, official role. So when was the thought process for you? When did that come about when you decided you wanted to be more involved in your hometown?
Yeah, so when I felt like growing up, people wanted to be doctors, right? They wanted to be lawyers, they wanted to be police officers. For me, I always said that I wanted to be a politician in Everett. And it started when I was 10 years old. My mom at the time, she was working multiple jobs, low-paid jobs as a certified nurse assistant. And I remember we were having issues one winter, and I said, well, Mom, how can I help you? How can we help solve this problem? And she said, you know the local newspapers you read? Because I used to read these local newspapers every Thursday. She's like, those are the people who can help us. And they were politicians. So I said, Mom, I'm going to be that person one day. And so I came back to my hometown and said I wanted to come back and run for office here.
That's phenomenal. And you did go to Bentley University, which is primarily a business school. So when you entered and enrolled into the university, were your plans ever at that point, did you already plan to get into politics or were you still very much business minded?
Yeah, so my first 2 years of college, I went to Temple University and I was a pre-law focus.
Wow.
Yeah, so my focus was political science, criminal justice. I interned at the prosecutor's office right down there, and my shift for policies changed. I said I didn't want to be an attorney. I really wanted to be the person who was making those policies. And so my love for politics grew even more. But at the time, I was introduced to business. And I love the aspect that the government, right, revolves around money. It revolves around budgets. It revolves around how do you spend it. And so I wanted to learn more about that. I didn't grow up with wealthy. I didn't grow up with money and et cetera. So I wanted to be an expert in that. And I wanted to go to the best school. So I went to Bentley University, but I always had in the back of my mind that I was going to run for office.
And you mentioned something that I love to talk about when I talk to anyone that is from immigrant households is the fact that your mom was working those nursing jobs and you decided to go into a career that is not necessarily unconventional, but you, like you mentioned, you didn't have the connections to do that. So how did you get your foot in the door for that first internship?
Oh man, I will say,
You remember?
well, people call me the networking queen. I have my phone book. If you need somebody or a connection to, I can find it. And so when I was in college, I would network everywhere, LinkedIn, send out emails, go to conferences. And so my first internship actually was with the US Department of Defense, where I worked with the Inspector General. And it was through a networking meetup that I met with a person.
Wow. And obviously the rest speaks for itself. But we mentioned how busy you are, and you are a businesswoman on the side. I read that you have your own ice cream shop, which is phenomenal, Tipping Cow, that's also in your hometown. How did that ice cream shop come about?
Yeah, so my husband and I, we originally wanted a coffee shop. We were thinking about, but there's so many coffee shops here.
Right. Especially Dunkin'. They're everywhere.
Right, definitely Dunkin's and Starbucks. And so we wanted to do something very different. And I love ice cream. I can eat a pint of ice cream every day. um, so in 2018, there was an opportunity. So Somerville was the place where I was born, and a young lady, she wanted to sell her ice cream shop. She felt like it was too much, but she wanted to continue her brand. And so we asked her if we could continue it and change it up a little bit. And so that's what we did. And we decided, we renovated the place. We offered much more flavors, and we were able to market. And we actually won the Boston Magazine's Best Ice Cream Award last year. So I feel like we've been able to grow and expand.
Did you change the name that it originally was, or was that name there all along?
Yeah, we kept the same name.
Nice. And I also noticed that you have a variety of options. You mentioned like expanding the brand, but there are dairy-free options. What went into that process of marketing it so that people that are lactose intolerant can still enjoy your brand?
Right. I think it's important when we talk about community, we want everyone to feel included, right? So in my work in politics or in my work in finance or et cetera, it was the same thing with ice cream. There are some people who are allergics. There's some people who have nut allergies. There's some people who can't eat or drink milk. And so we want everyone to taste really good quality ice cream. Like, we make everything from scratch. My husband is in there every morning, and it literally, he says he does it with his heart. And we feel like that's sort of unique and different.
And I know the silver lining was getting that award last year for the best ice cream from Boston Mag, but last year was the beginning of the pandemic, and a lot of small businesses did suffer. What kind of hit did you guys take, if any?
Right. I think for everybody, like, we shut down for a period of time, right? Because we thought first safety. We were heard about, there were so many cases where cases were spreading, and our nearby business, one of our neighbors, they actually got COVID and it spread amongst the staff. And so we decided to shut down, and where we weren't getting any money, right? And then it was amazing where, in a sense, the whole Breonna Taylor and George Floyd, and we're the only small business of ice cream as a Black-owned business in Somerville. And so we started noticing, once we decided to open up, there were lines out the door. People wanted to support a Black business, and it was incredible. And so it helped us on top of that. But yes, so many of our neighbors had to close down.
I can imagine, but thankfully that a lot of restaurants and small businesses have been able to open back again, which I'm sure you're not mad about. But I also want to pivot back a little bit into your political career. I noticed that in 2019, you beat out 2 incumbents. And again, not coming from a strong political background, how are you able to not only navigate to winning, but what was the process like for you being fairly new to the political world?
So I'll tell you, I just remember I'm a grassroots person, right? I feel like in my heart, I'm an activist first. And I remember going to the doors and talking about real issues and examples of what I wanted to change or what I thought was unfair. And I noticed that it touched people's hearts. And it was like, oh, I want to get more involved. And particularly, like, my whole motto is trying to get everyone involved at the table. And so we would reach out to people who probably just didn't vote in local elections, but we wanted them to know, like, you have city councilors who have been there for 10, 20 years, and the city has changed. We need somebody who's going to resonate and understand our struggles and our challenges. And I just thought, if I talked about the honesty of what was going on, that people would be able to relate to me.
For sure. And what has been the biggest challenge over the last 2 years of being in office?
Right. Especially with the pandemic, I will say a lot of my residents have been laid off. The need for food, right, to cover rent, their mortgage, as well as small business owners have had to shut down and try to figure out a new opportunity for them. I get calls and text messages every single day, and it hurts my heart because I'm trying to figure out, how can I help you? How can I make your life better? Because that's what I feel like my role is. So those struggles, it touches my heart because I've been there, right? We grew up like that. And so I want to be able to help provide solutions for them.
In your role with the city council, do you feel as though you've been given the resources and opportunities to help the constituents that you work with?
So I will tell you the honest truth. So my colleagues, I feel like their view of politics is very different than my view. And I feel like at the end of the day, I'm going to help as many people as I can, even if they don't want to join the journey with me. And they have told me and noted that often. But I feel like at the end of the day, I've been able to help and serve so many residents, and we've been able to provide. We did the first Black History Month essay contest. We've given away 14 scholarships. I've raised money, and I've personally give out of my pocket. We've helped 75 families with real groceries and turkey and chicken and etc. And this month we're hosting a diaper giveaway where we're gonna help 50 families with diapers and baby wipes. And that essentially for me, as my role as a city councilor, I just want to be able to help and provide as many resources as I can to my constituents.
I know you've mentioned your love of politics and working in obviously your home city. So what do you foresee as being a next natural step in the political world for you, if you continue to pursue?
You know, I know. I just got a phone call from a resident. They're like, "What's your next step?" And I was just,
That's hilarious.
I say, I just love to continue to serve people. And if there's an opportunity that arises where I can be the most effective and the most impactful to people's lives, I will definitely take that on and explore it. But for right now, we're just trying to navigate through all of this and try to help as many people.
Absolutely. And this is the year where everyone is needing the most help for sure. And with that being said, we mentioned again, you've been busy with your small business and also helping the people in your community. So what do you do when it comes to de-stressing and really stepping away from your work? Your multiple works.
I watch a lot of Netflix. I will tell you. Every day I watch, you know how now Netflix has the top 10?
Yeah, I saw, yeah.
So I challenge myself to watch the top number 1 every day.
Wow, yeah. That's impressive.
Yeah, something different, something unique, and something, I just watched Thunder Force. I don't really like action movies, but it was really good.
It's so funny though, because they have that option where if you don't know what to watch at all, you can just click that. But that seems a little too risky. I actually like that method of just whatever's number 1, clearly people like it. I want to see what it's about.
It's been really good, really good.
So you would say Netflix is your main go-to self-care method overall?
Yes, and podcasts, and Clubhouse now.
Yes.
There's these 2 groups I listen to every single morning at 6 a.m. and 7 a.m. One is about faith, and the other one is about business over breakfast. Really great resources.
Look at that. And this is actually going to be turned into a podcast, so you can send this to your friends as well. Okay. Great. But Gerly Adrien, thank you so much for joining 10 Questions with NBC10 Boston. It was a pleasure learning about you and your political journey, and I'm looking forward to seeing what else you do in Everett.
Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone.